Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Long time no see. And I thought today we would do a little video on the father of the Fatboy, William Godfrey Davidson. Now I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the very early years of Willie G as he is known, but I can tell you he was born in 1933 and he is the grandson of one of the founding fathers of Harley Davidson, William A. Davidson. And it was in California where he went to design school where he started seeing bike customization, and that came big into play when he started with Harley in the design department in 1963. So we're going to talk about some of the bikes as we go through this that Willie G was known for having a hand in creating. Obviously there's a ton of them, so we're only going to look at some of them. I'm probably going to leave some out, but anyway, in the 70s he really started getting into it, and he started with the 71 Super Glide. This was kind of Harley's first factory custom. It was basically kind of a hybrid between an FL and an XL, and it was really known for its fiberglass tail section, which I personally find pretty hideous. Now in 1977 he came up with a model that is basically still around today. It was the 77 Lowrider. Now this came about basically due to its low bars. It has a 32 degree steering angle, I believe, 27-inch seat height, so it was a low bike for the time. It's obviously still available today, and is also one of Harley's factory custom bikes. Now also in 77 he came out with the Cafe Racer, and this bike in my opinion is pretty damn hideous. It was a flop. It was only out for a couple years. If you look at how it looks, the styling, you can see why, but it also was known for poor performance. It was notable for having that front fairing, and it also has a different styled gas tank than Harley was used to. Now through the 70s, Harley had a parent company called AMF, and you could do a whole nother video on that. But needless to say, they weren't good years for Harley. So in 1981, 13 executives, including Willie G. Davidson, ended up buying back Harley from AMF, and eventually led to Harley Davidson's Resurgence. Now also in 1981, Willie G had another bike he came out with, and it was another along the lines of those factory customs, and this was the 81 Sturgis. It was mainly a black bike, and obviously it was named after the famous motorcycle rally that we've actually just finished. Now along comes 1984, and this is another historic year for Harley because it marked the beginning of the Evolution engine. In my opinion, probably the best engine Harley came out with. 1340 cc's of reliability, and Willie G was involved in some of the design of that engine, and it actually is one of the reasons people say that Harley was saved from bankruptcy due to the success of that engine. Now in 1986 we saw the beginning of a bike that's still around today. That is the Heritage Softail. Softail had just somewhat recently came out, not too long before this. Softail meaning it has the shock, a hidden shock in the rear, rather than the hard tail with no rear suspension. But it was meant to inspire that classic retro look, and as I said before, it's still available today. And now, oh boy, we get to 1990 and we come out with, in my opinion, Harley Davidson's best motorcycle, Willie G's best motorcycle, and that is the Fatboy. The Fatboy is what got me into Harley Davidson. It was actually the movie Terminator 2. I've said that, you know, a few times at least already on other videos. But it's an iconic bike to me. Like I say, it's my favorite. When it came out in gray, had those solid wheels, those fat tires. It was meant to be a stripped down, mechanical looking cruiser. And I've done lots of videos on Fatboys before, so I could go on and on and on. But in my opinion, that's for me the best thing that Willie G did as far as designing motorcycles go. Now, as we moved into the new millennium, a bike came out that Willie G had a hand in designing, and that was a very divisive bike, and that was the V-Rod. It was Harley's, I believe, basically Harley's first production liquid-cooled overhead cam, high-revving Revolution engine. This bike stuck around from about 2001 to 2017, I believe. It was meant to be Harley's muscle bike. Now around here, I didn't see too many people who had them. From everybody I've talked to, you either really like it or you really hate it. But it was definitely a step towards where we are now with the liquid-cooled engines that have come out in the new Sportsters. Now, as we move to 2006, we come to where another bike came out with Willie G's fingerprints on it, and that was the Street Glide. And this was kind of the belle of the ball for many years. Very popular, high-selling motorcycle. Basically, kind of a low-profile bagger. Hard bags, batwing fairing. It is another one you could call kind of a factory custom that Harley came out with, but an extremely popular bike. And I would say up until probably the new Lowrider came out, it's probably one of Harley's best-selling motorcycles. As we rolled into the 2010s, we had 2012, and this was basically one of, if not the last bike that Willie G had a big hand in creating, and that was the XL72 Sportster. It meant to have that kind of bit of a chopper feel. It had the peanut tank, the little apes. It had a solo seat. It was meant to have that retro style, and that was something that he could really look at, and you can tell that his fingerprints are all over that bike. Now, 2012 was also a very big year in the life of Willie G for another reason, that being that he retired from Harley Davidson after around 50 years of leading the design team there. He was obviously getting older, but as he's retired, he's also remained a brand ambassador to Harley. And if you look through his career and you look through the bikes that we've just talked about, you can see how he has been one of, if not the biggest reason that Harley has been as successful as it has. He has been a highly, highly influential part of that company, and it will be a sad day when he finally leaves us. So that's it, guys. That's my little brief history of Willie G and what he has accomplished. Obviously, like I said before, I'm going to leave out probably a lot of bikes. He was head of designs for decades, so he's had his hands in everything. But I wanted to touch on some of the bigger models that he has had a hand in. So anyway, hope you liked it. If you did, like, share, subscribe. Doesn't cost you nothing. And until the next time, we will see you again.